and all those watching via live stream. This, the ordinary meeting of council. There is no apologies for today's meeting. Council acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land in which we meet here today, the elders past, present and emerging. We also acknowledge those Australians who have given the ultimate sacrifice in service to our country. I now invite, it's good to see Pastor Buckle to bring us Invocation. Good morning.
Hello, it's Christmas. Exciting time of the year. It's also it's a mixed emotion time of the year. Many people.
For a lot of people, there's grief as well as many others joy. And I think that's one of the great challenges of Christmas for a lot of people. And what I love about the Christian faith especially is that Hebrews tells me that Jesus has been touched with the feelings of our infirmities. One of the reasons from a biblical point of view that God came is to walk among us, to walk the feelings and the heartaches and the pains and the anguishes of our life, to know hunger, loss, grief, betrayal, and in the midst of all that, maintain joy. And I think that's one of the wonders of the faith that I believe in. And so for all of us, we can still say in many places a happy Christmas. For those who don't like that, happy holidays, happy season. But I really believe that we have a faith that's worth championing. I went to Lights last night. I saw the one over just near, was it Paradise Lane or somewhere? It's a beautiful set of lights with Merry Christmas. And I thought, well, we need to realise this is a meeting for Christ. And many people don't acknowledge that. But I want to remember that there are joys and there are sorrows. There are people in pain and there are people who are having great joy. And I think as ministers, one of the things that we remember, and I encourage you as counsellors to remember, that if we don't walk in people's shoes, we don't always know how they feel. And I think that's why Jesus came, so that we could know that our God knows how we feel in every situation. Can we pray? Father, I thank you for Christmas, the reminder that God came among us to know our heartaches, our pains, as well as our joys and sorrows. You're not untouched by us, the ways we travel, the pains we have. You're not aloof and afar off. You're very near to those who call upon you. Lord, I pray this Christmas time will be a time of great joy for many, and for those who are in grief, let them find comfort and hope in the midst of the battles. We remember them all in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Well, thank you, Pastor Buckle. We go on to the agenda of the meeting. The first item of business, as per normal, is the confirmation of the minutes. I now move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 30th of November 2021 be taken as read and confirmed. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor Haverman. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. I now go to items of declarations of conflict, which I'll invite councillors to declare any conflict of interest in any items to be discussed in today's meeting. Before going around the room, I'll start with myself. Item K1, pursuant to section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act 2009, I wish to inform the meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest in item K1. The nature of the conflict of interest is that a person could reasonably believe that I may be biased given the management officers of the entity to which the report relates and the possible connection with other ongoing matters. Due to the confidentiality of these matters, I'm restricted from disclosing any further information. Having stated this conflict of interest, I'm going to leave the room and not vote on the matter. There's no need to vote on that. I'll move on to my next conflict in relation to the meeting is item L3, and that's pursuant to section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act 2009. I wish to inform the meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest in item L3. The nature of the conflict of interest is that a family member lives in close proximity to the subject land of the report and may obtain a benefit or detriment depending upon the outcome of the matter. Having stated this conflict of interest, I'm going to leave the room and not vote on the matter. The next item is item L5, and that's pursuant to section 15EQ of the Local Government Act 2009. I wish to inform the meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest in item L5. The nature of the conflict of interest is the entity or director of the entity, or possible associated to the entity or the director of the entity to which the report relates may have been a donor when I was a candidate for state election. Out of abundance of caution, having stated this conflict of interest, I'm going to leave the room and not vote on the matter. The next item is item T2, and that's pursuant to section 15EQ of the Local Government Act 2009. I wish to inform the meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest in item T2. The nature of the conflict of interest is that a person could reasonably believe that I may be biased given the person to which the report relates and the possible connection with others on ongoing matters. Due to the confidentiality of these matters, I'm restricted from disclosing any further information. Having stated this of interest, this conflict of interest, I'm going to leave the room and not vote on the matter. That's just the start of the conflicts around the room. So I'll go to you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you very much. Mayor, I'd like to declare a L1, shown in section 152 of the Local Government Act 2009, which is an all-meeting of the federal conflict of interest. The nature of the conflict of interest is the owner of the land, which is subject to the application like family trust and a past relationship, which no longer exists to some years ago. Therefore, their interest
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any others?
Shown in section 158 of the Local Government Act 2009, which would inform the meeting that over a federal conflict of interest. The nature of the conflict of interest is that a person can reasonably believe that it may be biased to the person to which it relates, and due to the confidentiality of the matter, I am restricted from disclosing any further information. I will be leaving the room.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. I'll go to Councillor. Yep. Go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Jason. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have declarable conflict of interest in item T2. Subject is suspected inappropriate conduct. Pursuant to section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act 2009, I wish to inform the meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest. The nature of the conflict of interest is that I've known the person who the report is about for many years and have a close working relationship with this person and class this person as a friend. Section 150 EN of the Local Government Act 2009 states that a declarable conflict of interest could reasonably be presumed to have, and all the training the councillors have been subjected to, which has been provided by the OIA, LGAQ and Department of Local Government, has always advised to err on the side of caution, and if in doubt, get out. Due to this, I could be presumed that someone could reasonably think that my decision may be biased, and due to this fact, I may be reported for not declaring a perceived conflict of interest and be investigated by the Office of Independent Assessor. I do not want this to occur, and therefore, having stated the perceived conflict of interest, I'm going to leave the room and not vote on the matter. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks. Councillor Bartelt. Any others?
No, that's all.
Councillor Honour.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a declarable conflict of interest in regard to H1, a specialised supplier arrangement. The nature of the conflict is that my son, Dwayne Honour, is the manager within council that has authored the report. Having stated this conflict of interest, I am believe that I can participate and vote on the matter in regards to H1.
Thank Councillor Honour, we'll deal with this matter first. So pursuant to section 150 EQ of the Act, Council has been informed of a declarable conflict of interest, and Councillor Honour has stated that he believes he can participate and vote on the matter. The other councillors must now decide whether Councillor Honour may participate in the decision about the matter, including voting on the matter, or that he must leave the meeting and stay away while the eligible councillors discuss and vote on the matter. Can I have a show of hands for those who determine that Councillor Honour may participate in the meeting, including voting on the matter? All for? Yeah, there's no need to go to the negative. So as Council has determined that Councillor Honour is able to remain and vote on the matter. Thanks, Councillor Honour.
Mr Mayor, I have two other declarable conflicts of interest. Pursuant to section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act 2009, I wish to inform the meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest in the matter L5, a request for extension to Building Bundaberg Region 2020 incentives. The nature of this conflict is that I have a company called Coach Trails Investment Pty Limited. I have an outstanding open for development contract with council, and because of this I wish to leave the room and not vote on this matter.
Thank you, Councillor Honour. As Councillor Honour has indicated his type of conflict and will be leaving the room, there is no need to vote on this matter. Councillor Honour.
Pursuant to section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act 2009, I wish to inform the meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest in regard to T1, which is a review of a charges resolution. In light of the fact that Coach Trail Investments Pty Limited, my company, has a contract outstanding with council in relation to open for development, I wish to leave the room and not participate in this matter.
Thanks, Councillor Honour. As Councillor Honour has indicated his type of conflict, but also that he will be vacating the room, there is no need to vote on the matter. That's item T1. Councillor Honour, any other items? No. Councillor McPhee.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Pursuant to section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act 2009, I wish to inform the meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest in item K2. Can anyone hear that bowl back?
Yeah.
It's the item's resolution to designate flood hazard area. I have a close personal family member who owns land in June Place. That property is one of 7 that have been identified in the report as being having changes to the flood hazard area. Having disclosed my declarable conflict of interest, I do believe I can participate in the decision on the matter at this time.
Thanks, Councillor McPhee. At K2, flood hazard area. So Councillor McPhee has advised of a possible conflict and that the council will be remaining in the room. So pursuant to section 150 EQ of the Act, council has been informed of a declarable conflict of interest, and Councillor McPhee has stated that she believes she can participate and vote on the matter. The other councillors must now decide whether Councillor McPhee may participate in a decision about the matter, including voting on the matter, or must leave the meeting and stay away, which whilst the eligible councillors discuss and vote on the matter. Can I please have a show of hands for those councillors who determine that Councillor McPhee may participate in the meeting and voting on the matter? Thank you. As the matter is unanimous, the councils have determined that Councillor McPhee is able to remain in the room in relation to this matter and vote on the matter. Thank you very much. Anything else, Councillor McPhee? No. Councillor Barnes.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I have 2. Just for Mr CEO, if we could just change the advice I've given you from L1 to K1. I think there's some reallocation of numbers in there. So the advice I gave you, it should be agenda item K1, not L1.
Elliot Heads.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you.
Councillors, in accordance with the provisions of Section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act 2009, I wish to inform the meeting that I have declarable conflict of interest in the matter of agenda item K1, being for material change of use for a service station and food and drink outlet.
No, councillor Barnes.
No, sorry. Just bear with me, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, no.
It's been one of those mornings.
L1 is the MCU for the service station.
Okay. I'll just find the right one.
Sorry, that's Childers. Bugara, L3.
No.
So, councillor Barnes, while you're looking for that one, are you happy if I go?
Yeah, absolutely.
Come back to
Yep.
you? Yep. Thanks, councillor Barnes. Councillor McLaughlin.
No conflicts.
That's it. Councillor Haberman.
No conflicts.
Thanks, councillor Haberman. Councillor Cooper.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like, pursuant to section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act 2009, I wish to inform the meeting that I have a declaration of conflict of interest in item 01. The nature of the conflict is that the person named as a leasee or is a director of director of that company is a business partner in a company with myself as well. So I will be. We do have a physical relationship, business relationship. Having stated that this is a conflict of interest, I am going to leave the room and not vote on the matter.
Thanks, councillor Cooper. As councillor Cooper has indicated that it'll be voluntary leaving the room and has indicated his type of conflict, there is no need to vote on the matter. Councillor Cooper, any others?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. Pursuant to section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act 2009, I wish to inform the meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest in the item T2. The nature of the conflict is that I was questioned in relation to the matter, and for that reason I will be leaving the room. Having stated that the conflict of interest, I am going to leave the room and not vote on the matter.
Thanks, councillor Cooper. Councillor Cooper, any other items? Cooper? Yep. Councillor Mitchell.
Thank you very much. No conflicts for me.
Thanks. Councillor Mitchell. Yep. Councillor Learmont.
Yes, Mr Mayor, good morning everyone. Pursuant to... bit noisy. Pursuant to section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act 2009, I wish to inform the meeting of a declarable conflict of interest. The nature of the conflict is is L5 request.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Request for extension of the completion date to the building Bundaberg Regents. The nature of the declarable interest is the MTOM Private Limited Director, Daniel Gorza, is a close personal friend. The interest in the matter is that they are developing the property in Childers. As a result of the declarable interest, I intend to leave the meeting while the matter is being considered. I also like to point out that the other day I said I would have a possible declarable interest with T2, but I've had advice on that and I will be going to declare that one.
Thanks, Councillor Learmont. So, Councillor Learmont, in relation to item L5, Councillor Learmont has indicated his type of conflict and has stated that he'll be leaving the room. As he'll be voluntarily leaving the room, there is no need to vote on the matter. There is no other conflicts addressed. Councillor Learmont, any others? No? Okay, so I'll go back to Councillor Barnes.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. We'll give it another go.
That's all right.
Councillors, in accordance with the provisions of section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act 2009, I wish to inform the meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest in the matter of item K1, request for Elliot Head's local area plan. The nature of the declarable conflict of interest is that I believe that two former council colleagues currently work or act as consultants for the applicant, and that my participation in the meeting could present a perception of potential bias. As a result of my declarable conflict of interest, I intend to leave the meeting while the matter is considered and voted on.
Thanks, Councillor Barnes. As Councillor Barnes has indicated his type of conflict and has voluntarily chose to leave the room in relation to item K1, there is no need to vote on the matter. Councillor Barnes, do you have any others?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillors, I wish to, in accordance with Section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act 2009, I wish to inform the meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest in the matter of agenda item T2 relating to suspected inappropriate conduct. The nature of the declarable conflict of interest is that notwithstanding the provisions of any Act of Parliament, I am not qualified nor trained to conduct the role outlined in the agenda item. As such, I have no intention of being a party to this matter and therefore consider that this represents a real and declarable conflict of interest. Accordingly, I intend to leave the meeting while the matter is considered and voted on.
Thanks, Councillor Barnes. Councillor Barnes has indicated his possible type of conflict and has chosen to voluntarily leave the room. As the councillor has voluntarily revealed that he'll be leaving the room, there is no need to vote on the matter. Now, any other conflicts, queries, questions? No. So I'll just remind everybody, certainly there, if as we go through the agenda, as we do normally, is if someone feels as though they have a possible conflict or the need to come forward, please take that opportunity. Now, conflicts have been identified, and first item is F1. It's from the Operational Services. I call Councillor Cooper.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The recommendation, the financial summary as at the 1st of December 2021 be noted by the Council.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor Barnes. Councillor Cooper, you speak further in relation to the matter?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. In accordance with Section 204 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, a financial report must be presented to Council on a monthly basis. The attached financial report contains the financial summary and associated commentary as at the 1st of December 2021.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Next item is item F2. I call Councillor Cooper.
Thank you again, Mr Mayor. The recommendation is that 1, pursuant to Section 170 in brackets 3 and Section 173 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Council adopt the amended budget as tabled, and 2, Council endorse the following policies. A, Revenue Policy Version 5 in brackets policy number CP-3-001 and the brackets. B, Revenue Statement Version 4, brackets policy number CP-3-004.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Can I have a seconder, please? The seconder is Councillor McLaughlin. Councillor Cooper, you wish to speak further in relation to the matter?
Yes, the broad background to this one, Mr Mayor, is that the 21-22 budget was developed earlier in the calendar year with restricted budget amendments approved in September 2021 for capital carryover projects in brackets referred as budget revenue and the brackets. This budget amendment outlined the latest proposals for the 2021-2022 financial year and is presented to Council for adoption. All budget amendments are required to have the full suite of budget documents included, the rectification of the revenue statement and review policy.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Next item is item G1. It's a lease item. I call Councillor Cooper.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The recommendation is that 1, Council apply the exception contained in Section 236 in brackets 1, bracket C and brackets 3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, and 2, the Chief Executive Officer be authorised to enter into a lease with Cleanaway Operations Proprietary Limited for part of Lot 292 on SP 236009 and Lot 89 on SP 147971 for the term of 3 years.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor Honour. Councillor Cooper, do you wish to speak further in relation to the matter?
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. Lot 292 on SP 236009 and Lot 89 on SP 14797 are state-owned reserved for local government with the sub-purpose of rubbish disposal, and council is the trustee of the property. The property is located at University Drive, Branyan, and is part of council's waste management facility. Cleanaway Operations Proprietary Limited, Cleanaway, brackets, currently leases the property, and the lease is due to expire on the 30th of June 2022. Cleanaway have requested a new lease for the property. The term of the lease will be 3 years. The rent will be at market value. The term and conditions of the lease are to be as per council's standard terms. Council proposes to apply the exception to the tender /auction requirement contained in section 236 in brackets 1, brackets C in brackets 3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, given that the disposal of the for the purpose of renewing the lease to the existing tenant.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other councillor wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. I'll just put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Next item is also a lease arrangement. G2, I call Councillor Cooper.
Thanks again, Mr Mayor. The recommendation that 1, council apply the exception contained in section 236 in brackets 1 in brackets C in brackets 3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, and 2, the Chief Executive Officer be authorised to enter into a lease to Millbank and Millbank as trustees for part of the Bargara Administration Centre, known as Lot 2 on SP 31446 for the initial term of 1 year with a further 2-year option of 1 year each.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Can I have a seconder, please? Second is Councillor Haberman. Councillor Cooper, you to speak further in relation to the matter.
Yes, Mr Mayor, council is the owner of the freehold property at Lot 2 on SP 31446, known as 160 Hughes Road, Bargara. The Bargara Administration Centre is built on this land and is the home of the AgTech precinct. Millbank and Millbank as trustees lease a portion of the property. The current lease is due to expire on the 3rd of January 2022. While the current lease contains options, the option was not exercised in accordance with the lease, and a new lease is required to be entered into. Millbank wished to renew the lease for an initial period of 1 year with a further 2-year options of 1 year each. The rent will be for market value. The term and conditions of the lease are to be as per council standard term. Council apply the exception to the tender auction requirement contained in section 236 in brackets 1 in brackets C in brackets 3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, given that the proposed disposal is for the purpose of renewing a lease to the existing tenant.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. I'll now put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Next item is another lease matter. I call G3. I call Councillor Cooper.
Thanks again. Recommendation again that 1, council apply exception contained in section 236 in brackets 1 and brackets E of the Local Government Regulation 2012, and 2, the Chief Executive Officer be authorised to enter into a lease complete autonomous unmanned vehicles proprietary limited, it's a mouthful, and Bennett Columbine as trustees for part of Bargara Administration Centre, known as Lot 2 on SP 31446 for the initial term of 3 years with a further 2-year option of two options of 2 years.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Can I have a seconder, please? Second is Councillor McLaughlin. Councillor Cooper, you should speak further in relation to the matter.
Yes, Mr Mayor, this relates to the Hughes Road property on Lot 2, SP 31446, known as 160 Hughes Road. Complete autonomous vehicles, proprietary limited, and Bennett Columbine as trustees of Parallax Group United Trust, trading as Regional Drone Solutions, wish to lease an office space within the property. The initial term of the lease will be 3 years and have 2 options of 2 years. The council rent will be as market value. The term and conditions of the lease are to be per council standard terms. Council proposes to apply exceptions to the tender auction requirement contained in section 236 in brackets 1, brackets E of the Local Government Regulation 2012, given that the property has previously been offered for lease by tender but was not successful.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other council wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Next item is item H1. Councillor Honour, were you in or out on this one?
I'm in, thank you.
You're in? Yep. And that, yeah, we voted on that one. Yeah. So item H1, I call Councillor Trevor.
Mr Mayor, I'd like to move that council enters into an arrangement with Bicycle Network, Inc., without first providing written quotes pursuant to section 225B of the Local Government Regulation 2012, and B, that this arrangement be in place for a period of 3 years from 7th of December 2021 through to 7th of December 2024.
Thanks, Councillor Trevor. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor Barnes. Councillor Trevor, you should speak further in relation to this matter.
No, Mr Chairman, I think it's, Mr Mayor, it's pretty straightforward.
Thanks, Councillor Trevor. Any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. I'll put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. The next item is item K1. It's from a planning and development area. Myself and Councillor Barnes will be vacating the room, and Deputy Mayor Councillor Trevor will be assuming the chair. Very good.
Just get through there. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. But have you got the recommendation up there? The minutes note that the Mayor has left the room for K1. The recommendation is that Insight SJC be advised that Council agrees to undertake local area planning for Elliott Heads commencing the 2023-24 financial year. I move that. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor McLaughlin. Councillors, as you know, that some of these areas are becoming very popular, and Council needs to set the direction for area planning within those areas. It is the wish of Council that we start to undertake that local area planning for Elliott Heads so that proper planning can be in place to guide further development in that area. So this motion agrees to undertake that in the 2023-24 financial year. Does anyone else wish to speak further on the matter? Put the motion to the vote then. All those in favour? It's carried unanimously. Through there. Yeah.
Thank you, councillors. The next item is item K2. It's a resolution to designate a flood hazard area, and the recommendation, as per on the screen there and in the agendas, is that effective on the 1st of March 2022, A, Council declares under Section 8 of the Building Regulation 2021, A1, flood hazard areas for the Bundaberg region as identified in the flood hazard area maps contained in the hazard evaluations report, flood, brackets, December 2021, comma, revision 7.0, close commas, and A2, the defined flood level and maximum flow velocity of water, brackets, where available, out of brackets, are the flood levels and the velocities for the adopted defined flood events derived from the flood modelling for each catchment of the flood hazard area. And B, this resolution replaces the flood hazard areas previously declared by Council, including Council's resolution on the 17th of December 2019, brackets, ordinary meeting, item K1, resolution 2449. Can I have a seconder, please? Second is Councillor Bartel. Mr. CEO, would you like to say anything in relation to this matter?
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The changes really are to reflect the completion of a couple of additional reports that council staff have been working on. In particular, the completion of the Baffle Creek flood study and a review and validation of the results from the Burrum, Cherwell, Isis and Gregory River flood study, which was done in 2015, but specifically for the Rushy Creek catchment at Redridge. And the changes in the, as reflected in the resolution, as a result of that work that was done with those revised studies.
Thanks, Mr. CEO. I too just also want to thank staff involved and keeping up with the latest technology and advice in relation to this, and also obviously thank the collaboration with Gladstone Regional Council in getting a good outcome for both areas. Any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No, I'll put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? So, the next item is item L1. It's a material change. Is item L1, Councillor Trevor, you're leaving. I'll be vacating. So I'm pretty sure it's L1. No, L1, I'm here. Right, that's good. So item L1 is a material change of use. So I now move that the development application 525.2021.23.1 be approved in full with conditions as detailed in the agenda. Can I have a seconder, please? The seconder is Councillor McLaughlin. I'll just, before say a few words, I'll go to CEO for some details in relation to this matter. Or to Michael, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This proposal is to redevelop a site in Childers that councillors will probably be familiar with, which has been an old caravan park for many years on the Bruce Highway near the Cane Rail crossing as you come in from the southern side. The applicant seeks to have a material change of use to enable him to develop a service station and a food and drink outlet, and reconfiguring the lot into 3 lots, including 2 new lots and 2 access easements. The proposal will involve a service station with 4 general bowsers and refuelling bays, and a 235 square metre convenience shop and food outlet with appropriate car parking. He's proposing that the food outlet will in all likelihood be a pie face, and that the fuel will be provided by United 24. And there's also 10 car parking spaces provided.
Thanks, Mr. CEO. I'll just go around the room. Councillor Honour, do you wish to?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, in regards to this matter, I've had a call from a gentleman this morning who lives directly opposite to this development at 28693 on the Bruce Highway. It's his only access point to the Bruce Highway, north and south. He has concerns about accessing his property, coming from the north with his children from school, that he can still get into his property. Also that he can access to the south when required, instead of doing only a north turn onto the Bruce Highway. He has spoken to our planning department. He's also spoken to Transport and Main Roads. He wants to make certain that his access is preserved, and also that the discussions he's had with Transport and Main Roads about installing chevron markers on the road so that he can access his property unrestricted are included in this development approval.
Thanks, Councillor Honour. I'll just refer through you, Mr CEO, if you decide to go to Michael.
Look, I'll let Michael answer it, Mr Mayor, in regards to the detail. I think he's across it.
Yep. Michael. Yep.
Thank you. Through the chair, councillor, yes, we are aware that that customer has contacted my team. The matters about works in the road reserve for the highway is under the jurisdiction of the Department of Transport and Main Roads. So council doesn't have an ability to condition these things. However, I understand those conversations have taken place. Those works do require further approval for operational works. And we can certainly liaise with relevant state government officers at that time.
Yeah. Thanks, Michael. Councillor Honour, happy with that reply? Yep.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor, on that gentleman's behalf.
Thanks, Councillor Honour. Any other queries in relation, councillors, in relation to this matter? No. I'll now put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Next item is, we have to wait till Trevor returns. So you got the new recommendation? Yep. Yeah, so item L2, councillors would receive further advice in relation to this one. It's a material change of use and it's from the planning section. So I now move that the matter be deferred until the applicant can make further representation to council. Cover it there. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor McPhee. Councillor or Mr CEO, if you say anything further in relation to this one.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As advised to councillors yesterday, the applicant under the Planning Act has requested council stop the clock so to enable them to make representations to the council. They've requested that they meet with council at a consultation day in early February, in which case council will be making a decision then on the matter at the February meeting or perhaps the March meeting after you have that more detailed discussion with the applicant who believes that there's some issues that the report as presented doesn't adequately cover.
Thank you, Mr CEO. Does any other council wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? The matter be deferred? No. I'll now put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? I'll just do that again. So all those in favour, the matter be deferred, or those against, Councillor Haberman, so noted for that item. The matter will proceed. The next item is item L3. I've acknowledged a possible conflict in relation to a planning matter, so I'll vacate the room and I'll ask Deputy Mayor Bill Trevor.
Thank you, council. L3 is material change of use for the service station, shopping centre and showroom at 60 Rifle Range Road, Bargara. I now move the development application 522.2020.229.1 be approved in full conditions as detailed in the agenda. May I have a seconder, please? Seconder, Councillor Barnes. Would you like to make any comment on that, Mr CEO?
Thanks, Councillor Trevor. The application before council today is for a material change of use for a shopping centre, service station and showroom to be developed over 4 stages. Stage 1 is a service station with a gross floor area of 207 square metres. It includes a cafe and a restaurant. Stage 2 will be 5 specialty shops, ranging in size between 214 square metres up to 283. 6 retail stores with a gross floor area between 84 and 129 square metres, and a cafe restaurant with a gross floor area of 216 square metres. Stage 3 will be 4 bulky goods shops, once again with gross floor areas between 305 and 309 square metres. And stage 4 will be a limited line supermarket with a gross floor area of 1,510 square metres. The proposal in very general terms includes the following features: maximum building height of 7.5 metres or 7.4 metres, site cover of around 26.9%, extensive landscaping around 16% of the site, 204 car parking spaces, including 10 disability spaces and 42 bicycle parking spaces. And then the report goes on to detail the change in roadworks to facilitate traffic movements associated with the new development.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? There being none, I'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously.
Okay, so having dealt with item L1, we move to item L4. L4 is in relation to Harbour Esplanade at Burnett Heads. So I now move that the development application 521.2021.239.1 be approved in all the conditions as detailed in the agenda as well as before the councillors here today. So may I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor McLaughlin. Mr. CEO, would you like to say a few words in relation to this matter?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a pretty straightforward application to reconfigure the lot. Councillors will recall that this site has been subject to previous applications. Most recently, in December 2020, Council approved a material change of use for a preliminary approval over the site. The developers, in order to now, action that approval, are seeking to subdivide it into 4 lots. The 4 lots are sized at 7.39 hectares, 1.11 hectares, 1.284 hectares, 4.862 hectares. And the objective of the development is to create the project lots, as I said, consistent with that earlier approval that the council gave in December last year.
Thanks, CEO. Any other council wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. I'll put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. The next item again is item L5, planning area. Councillor Honour. Yes. Councillor Learmont and myself will be vacating the room. I ask Councillor Bill Chandler to the seat.
Again?
High five, Bill. Yeah.
One of extras.
What do you know, John?
Councillors, item L5 is DA 322.2013, request for extended completion date, Building Better Bundaberg Region 2020's incentives. I now move that Council agree to an extension of the completion date in the Building Bundaberg Region 2020 Infrastructure Agreement for DA 322.2013.38453.1 to 18th of November 2022. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Haberman, do you want to make any comment on that, Mr. CEO?
Very briefly, Councillor Trevor, the owner has asked for an extension of time. Not surprisingly, he's having trouble in engaging builders to complete the development, given what's happening in the local development industry and building industry in particular. And Council's agreed to an extension of 12 months from now to enable him to get those slabs on the ground and to start construction.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? Not. I'll put the... Oh, thought your hand was going up there, Gavin. Councillors, I now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? Councillor Bartell's against. Everyone else in favour.
Thanks, councillors. Having dealt with item F5, everyone's returned, we now go to the item 01. Item 01 is Councillor Cooper out. Item 01 is a lease matter. It's a recommendation, and the recommendation is 1, council apply the exception contained in section 236, brackets 1, bracket C, brackets III, close brackets of the Local Government Regulation 2012, and 2, the Chief Executive Officer be authorised to enter into a lease to PSA Super Proprietary Limited for part of Lot 35 on SP 254546 for an initial term of 5 years with a further 5-year option. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor Barnes. It's obviously, it's as per the explanatory notes provided on the screen, but are there any other councillors wish to raise any queries, concerns in relation to the motion? No, I'll put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? No, so moved. Thanks, Councillor Cooper's returned. The next item is S1. It's a sole supply arrangement. I call Councillor Barnes.
Councillors, council installed an access management system for the car park at Bundaberg Regional Airport during 2011. Manage and maintain council-owned buildings, facilities and assets that support and facilitate social, events and community life. Council installed the management system.
Excuse me, Greg.
In 2011.
You don't have your mic on, and I think you have to read the recommendation first.
All right,
Can I get up with the recommendation? Yep.
Yeah, I've had better days, Mr. Mayor.
That's all right.
The background, councillors, is that council installed an access management system for the car park at Bundaberg Regional Airport during 2011, which was manufactured by Skadada AG of Germany.
Hold up, that's Councillor Barnes. I'll just, before we get to the wording of the motion, I'll just get you to move the motion.
All right, okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
Councillors, I move that council authorise the Chief Executive Officer to enter into an arrangement with Skadada Australasia Proprietary Limited for the provision of maintenance services for the airport car park access management system without seeking competitive quotations or tenders pursuant to section 235 in brackets A of the Local Government Act 2012.
Thanks, Councillor Barnes. Seconder, please. Second is Councillor Honour. Councillor Barnes, you speak further in relation to the matter.
Yeah, as I said twice, council installed an access management system for the car park at Bundaberg Regional Airport in 2011, which was manufactured by Skadada AG of Germany. The system is made up from entry and exit points, payment machines and system control consoles. Preventative and reactive maintenance services for the access control system have been supplied under a maintenance contract with Skadada Australasia since that time. Programmed preventative maintenance reduces the risk of breakdowns, consequent loss of revenue and risk of customer complaints. Reactive maintenance provides a rapid recovery from breakdowns to full operational service. The maintenance contract with Skadada Australasia has run to the end of its term and a new contract is recommended. Skadada Australasia is the only organisation in Australia with a proprietary technical knowledge and access to spare parts required for the ongoing service and maintenance of the access control system. Proposed to negotiate an arrangement with SCADA Australasia to provide continuation of the services provided by the previous contract.
Thanks, Councillor Barnes. Any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Yep, so the next items are items T1 and T2. So I now move that the meeting be closed to the public pursuant to section 254J of the Local Government Regulations 2012 to discuss the confidential items. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor McPhee. All those in favour? Those against? It's starting to move out of confidential. It's not the confidential item at the moment. So I'll just do that again. Is those to move out of to move into confidential? So can I have a show of hands? All those in favour and those against. So move. Wayne, before going out there, I just remind. So item T1, you're out of the room.
Yes, Mr Mayor, thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Lachlan. Yeah, so item T1 is the charges resolution and incentives project for Bundaberg Regional Significance. Councillor Honour has vacated the room in relation to conflict, so I now move that. Bundaberg Regional Council Charges Resolution 1 brackets of 2021 is adopted by Council pursuant to Section 113 of the Planning Act 2016 to take effect on the 1st of March 2022. 2, Bundaberg Regional Council adopted Infrastructure Charges Resolution brackets 1 of 2020 is repealed and will cease to have effect on the 1st of March 2022. 3, Council determined to implement the project of regional significance infrastructure charges incentive system in accordance with prepared rules and procedures detailed in attachment 2 of this report, brackets, to also take effect on the 1st of March 2022. And 4, the Chief Executive Officer or his nominated delegate be authorised to enter into an infrastructure agreement that allows for the calibration of the infrastructure charges levied prior to the 1st of March 2022 in accordance with the new charges resolution where the charge is unpaid but not overdue. Can I have a seconder, please? Second is Council Haberman. I now put the matter to the vote. Is all those in favour? And those against is Councillor Bartel, so noted. The matter is so moved. The next item of business coming out of confidential is item T2. So myself, Councillor Trevor, Councillor Bartels, Cooper and Barnes will be vacating the room, and then who is previous to the chair in the confidential matter resume the chair for this item. That's good.
Gone. Councillors, in the absence of the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor, who would then normally chair the meeting, we'll need a procedural motion for you to elect a chair to be able to decide item T2. Councillor McPhee.
I'd like to move that Councillor Honour sit in on this item as chair.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Haberman. Councillor Honour, you will be able to chair T2.
Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, councillors. In the absence of our mayor and other fellow councillors.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yes. See how often I
And
chair.
then we need it up on the screen.
Yeah, sorry. Moved and seconded. Councillor Honour, chair the meeting. Show of hands. Thank you. Unanimous.
Very much, everyone. Well, in the absence of the mayor and the other fellow councillors, we are in decision here on a item number T2. This item has been discussed in confidential. As we have all been briefed, we have had further legal advice come forward this matter, and as such, I ask whether the council would like to move the motion as shown on the screen. Yes.
I move that council defer item T2 to the ordinary council meeting on the 25th of January 2022 to allow councillors time to obtain further information.
Councillor Haberman. Is there a show of hands in favour of this motion? All in favour? Carried.
Thank you, Councillor Honour. Get the other councillors back in.
So, thank you, councillors. It's item T2 has been dealt with. That concludes the matters for today, and it brings conclusion of obviously today's business at this council meeting. The first ordinary meeting for 2022 is due to be held on the 25th of January 2022 in the council chambers here in Bundaberg. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish everybody, and particularly the residents of the region, a happy, safe Christmas and a prosperous new year. Our thoughts are with everybody at this time. I ask everyone if you please, to stay safe and well during this period. But as we come to the close of the year, is to remember those that are obviously less fortunate than ourselves across the community, whether it be the ill or the people suffering from illness or injuries or other sufferances at this time of the year, and remembering those ones that have lost family members across the last 12 months and the impact that it has on them. But we enter the year going forward 22 with a great deal of hope and joy and love in our community. This year we were voted the most caring community in Australia, and we look forward to continuing that as part of the fabric that brings this community together. I also, whilst thanking everyone in the community, I just want to say a big thank you to all of the staff who have done a tremendous job here at council, how they've dealt with COVID and the restrictions. I also want to pay, obviously, acknowledgement to our health workers who have done an incredible job, and the way they have dealt with that and their families, not just dealing with COVID and the effects of COVID, but also the effects that it's had on other members of the community and their frustrations in relation to not being able to get to other medical needs and being able to get their prioritised health service in a timely manner. So we look forward to 2022 again, certainly by being together, which is really important. There's certainly been an angst amongst the community, and we understand people's frustrations as well, but we certainly look forward to next year. I thank the fellow councillors here. It's good to see a council working together as a team, considering we went through many things today, and particularly finances and plannings and stuff, and with over a third, nearly over 30 councils in financial stress across the council. It's a great credit to the elected members and the executive leadership team for their determination on keeping a smooth ship going forward. So again, thank you. I now close the meeting at, what time we got, Penny? 11:13 a.m. And thank you for your attendance. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.